And an 11-second delay. I don't know why that. Yeah, it's 11 to 12-second delay all the time. And live from WDWL TV's basement storeroom, with great anticipation, we bring you the pride of the station, the grumpy old man, me, and asshole is still on strike. There'll be no obligatory bow. He wants to settle the strike with equal airtime. You see, he's still on strike. Oh. Yes, Ron was number one tonight. Ron was first in the door, in the studio, sitting right up front. And next to him is Kathy and Linda. One on either side. Boy, you're a lucky guy, Ron. You got women on both sides. Oh, game time? Game time? Top of the third, 9-2, our team in the... Whoa! 9-2, holy kielbasa. I hope they can hold that lead. I'm rooting for them. Hope they can hold that lead. Man, that's a strong, right out of the box. Third inning, 9-2. Wow. If they have an announcer, Kathy, walk over by the announcer and stick your phone right by the microphone. And then I'll say something. I'll keep it clean, but that way we can have the whole stadium hear grumpy over the PA. And then Linda will get ejected from the game. No, we don't want that to happen. Another wasted day today. Trying to get my goddamn medication back to normal, for Christ's sake. And then today was the first day for the experiment of taking my prednisone. And my doctor told me, get ready with all them projects, man, you're going to have energy. Well, I guess it'll take a couple of days to kick in because I didn't have no energy. Now we're going back like 15 years, experimenting with fucking medications. I can't wait for that appointment. Me and Mr. Big. It's going to be a heated conversation, I'll tell you that right now. And if he attempts to get up and leave the room, I'll just slide over in front of the door. And I'll lock it. Yeah, I watched the Shiz explanation this morning. It kind of sucks. But the DAC indictment, I think they'll wait until sentencing, and then they'll go hellfire on the indictment. And there ain't going to be no fucking plea deal in that case, I guarantee. There ain't going to be no plea offer. But I think that's what's going to happen. They're going to wait until he's sentenced, serve a couple of weeks, and then they'll hit him with that other indictment. Yeah, you know, Linda, I'm tired for the last 5 years of hearing, well, you know, the FDA is dictating to the hospitals that they're over medicating with opioids. Well, there's no such thing as reduce every patient by 50%. No. Oh, my pain management doctor said there were several patients that were so pissed off that they went to another hospital system. And like he said, you're going to get the same shit no matter what hospital system you go with. Because every hospital system got the same orders. And then, like he tries to explain, you're going to have to start from scratch. You think you're going to walk in with a medical file, throw it on a new doctor's desk, and he's going to say, oh, I agree with that. That's like the bullshit I'm going through switching primary care. And I'm in the same hospital. I just didn't want to drive out to the other side of town. Well, the rhinoceros will be following the elephants in. I went to the store today to pick up a few items. And I'm standing at the end cap trying to decide which single packs of delectables I'm going to get, because I'm trying to get him off one type. Now, he likes broth. So I have been experimenting with different versions of stew. So I'm looking, and out of the corner of my eye, Jenny! Oh my God! Oh jeez. Oh God, I'm sorry to hear that. Man, this channel is turning into the bad news channel. Wow. I'm really sorry to hear that, Jenny. Hang in there. Jesus Christ. Oh, for Christ's sake. It goes from bad to worse. Not only that, Ron, it's been a bad year for this channel. Jeez. Holy Christ. Well, Jenny, don't clog your phone up with me. I appreciate you coming in, but don't have me on the phone when you might need to take a phone call. I don't know why that happens with my chat. Why people there's certain things that are preventing people from seeing it. I know a lot of times if you're on a cell phone or a tablet, there's not enough room on the screen. I don't know. I might be shit canning Prism anyway. It all depends on what I'm going to have to pay for. They'll probably eliminate the other part of the program, Prism Lens, which I haven't used, which basically is you need a green screen for all the backgrounds. I haven't. But if I have to start paying for certain things like the font in the chat or some shit like that, they'll be shit canned. Matter of fact, I wiped Prism out of both of the computers in Studio One, and in one I'm going to download StreamYard, and in the other one OBS, and start experimenting, or just go back to goddamn YouTube and get it over with. 3 years on YouTube, I never had a fucking problem. Yeah, this morning I was watching Judge Dad, also known as Judge McNally. I like him. But boy, today was ass chewing day. He was. You you get these guys, between 30 and 40 years old, and they don't have a job, and they're not paying their court costs. And he tells them, "Hey, try McDonald's, Burger King, Chick-fil-A. You'll get a job." OBS is the one that Jeff is having problems with. I'm just going to experiment in the background. I might just give up on goddamn streaming software because I don't do all that shit that other YouTubers do, show videos and that. This isn't that kind of channel. I just have to figure out how to enlarge the font. Because that day, that font in the chat was so goddamn tiny it looked like ants in the screen. So he's using OBS now. What was he having problems with? StreamYard? I guess I'm going to have to email him. I haven't emailed him in quite a while. I'll have to email him, and if OBS is working pretty good for him, then I'll have him make me a tutorial. You got Wyatt blocked? Uh-oh. All right, so StreamYard was the one he was having a problem with. Then maybe I won't download StreamYard. I'll download OBS, and then I'll ask Jeff to give me a tutorial. But see, I don't show videos and all that. I don't really think I need streaming software. All I have to do, first of all, is figure out why on YouTube, if I do a sound test, it works, and then I go live, and no audio. Problem one, I have to figure out. Problem two, how to make the font larger. Because it was so goddamn small, I couldn't read it. I had no problems with YouTube for 3 years. Jeff, he shows videos and he has people on his panel. I don't do that shit. So I don't really need the aggravation of streaming software. I can just, like I say, 2 minor problems with YouTube. I don't know why the sound check worked perfect. I never touched anything. I go live and I'm muted. So I have to figure that bug out. And I have to see if there's a way of adjusting the font for the chat. Work them 2 bugs out, problem solved. It's getting warm in here. I have to turn on the cheap studio air conditioning. Because I have to close the drape on the window, and then no air comes in. Although yesterday, Jesus, my neighbor's driveway concrete must have been 400 degrees. The heat that was radiating off of it. Getting back to my shopping story, I'm standing at the end cap, and oh, come on, end cap, where they have all the delectables and they have the cat treats. Now, I'm over at the far left, and I'm looking at the different flavors of stew. And out of the corner of my eye, there's somebody standing next to me. I wasn't paying attention because I figured this person was looking at delectables or cat treats. So I'm just getting ready to take a flavor of delectable stew, and this person next to me goes, "Oh, ignore me, huh?" And I turned to look, and it was my little cutie cashier, and she says, "Oh," and for everybody to hear, "I guess you're not my boyfriend anymore." Now, all the eyes are on us because she's 22 and I'm old enough to be her grandfather. And I said, "Since you went on morning shift, I never know when to catch up with you. I don't know your schedule." Because sometimes she comes in at 5 a.m. and works till like noon, and then sometimes 6 and works till, like 1. And I've been missing her for the last 2 weeks. So I said, "Give me your schedule." She goes, "Well, I work this. Wait a minute." I said, "You're dealing with an old person." On the back of my grocery list, I wrote her schedule through Sunday. I guess now I have to shop in the morning. See, I used to see her all the time when she was working evenings, because I like to come in the store like between 3 and 4. Well, she's gone. So I have my evening cutie to kibitz with. Because I'm fickle. I have two women. And one, this is a rarity for me. The evening cutie is a flaming redhead. Me and redheads don't get along because my last ex, her temper was as hot as her red hair. Although, as long as I don't marry them, I can get along with them. I already told her that. I said, me and redheads don't get along. And she looked at me and goes, well, what did I do to you? I said, no. I said, I was married to one. Boy, did I learn my lesson. Ever since, as far back as I can remember, I always had a thing for redheads. Well, Grumpy learned the best way to screw up his friendship is marry them. Oh, she was a flaming lunatic. Oh, yeah. Oh, she had a temper to match the hair. Oh. Well, I'd always heard, redheads have hot tempers. Of course, I never saw that hot temper until after I said, I do. And then I wish I didn't. Well, there's got to be something with the hair, Linda. Because I'll tell you what, the first three were brunettes, and I never had that problem. I changed hair color, and whoa! Holy kielbasa! Although her elevator didn't go to the top floor. Unfortunately, I didn't see that problem until after I said I do. Then after about 6-7 months, I was like, can I rescind that I do? Oh, man. Yeah, well, I'm a mixture of all four hot tempers. German, Irish, Hungarian, Slovak. And she was Irish, Swedish. I can't remember the other two. I thought Swedes were kind of like mild tempered. I can't remember the other two. Irish, Swedish. Irish, Swedish. Can't remember the other two. I really put that one out of my memory banks. Delete, 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 delete. Yeah, on my father's side, my grandfather was Hungarian. My grandmother was Slovak. On my mother's side, my grandfather was German and my grandmother was Irish. She always had these neat Irish sayings. Especially like if I pissed her off, she'd be like, "'Tis the back of my hand hitting the front of your face." Uh-oh. Another one she used to use a lot was, "Get down on your knees and thank God that you're on your feet." First time she said that, I was like, "Are you tipping a little bit, Grandma?" I wish I could remember all the Irish sayings. Yeah, I like that. "'Tis the back of me hand hitting the front of your face." Get that hand away from me, Grandma. But man, could that woman play piano. Holy shit. Honky tonk. And when she would really get into it, she'd stand up. Man, could she hammer them keys? And she loved upright pianos. I miss her piano playing. Oh, man. She used to play in bars. As a matter of fact, she told me a lot of the bars happened to be like around the wharf. So we knew that there were no valets parking in that, in those bars. I used to like when she talked about, her piano playing in the bar. She said every now and then a fight would break out and she'd be standing up. She'd see a bottle coming her way and duck and never miss a note. I said, "Oh, you're in one of them classy bars, huh, Grandma?" She said, "Yeah, the longshoremen would just come right off the pier into the bar." That was the first time I ever heard Punch Palace. First time she said that, "Oh yeah, the bar, it was a Punch Palace." That was the name of the bar? Punch Palace? She says, "Well, it should have been." That was another combination that I could never figure out. Here's my rough and tumble grandma playing honky tonk piano in bars around the pier, and she's married to a police officer. Because my grandfather was a police officer. I was like, "Oh man, what a combination." I asked him once, "Did you arrest Grandma? Is that how you met her?" And then I got the old, "Just the back of my hand hitting the front of your face." It's okay. I'm going to be out of arm's reach, Grandma. So I had that pair on my mother's side. And then I had the pair that bought brand new cars by the color. No wonder I'm screwed up. I think the chat's locked up. See, that's another thing, too. Never heard that one. My grandfather used to say, go shit in your hat and pull it down over your ears. That and the old, I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. I said, well, what about a 9-foot pole? He never thought that was funny. Although, what was with a 10-foot pole? 6 foot was too short, 12 foot was too long. Yeah, I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. Okay. One time I wanted to get a long pole and make it 10 foot 1 inch and see, well, my grandfather probably would have beat me with it. Tell him, hey, Grandpa, it's a 10 foot 1 inch pole. Ow! Yeah, I never heard that go shit in the ocean. Yeah, another one I never heard. Another one my grandfather would use is walk north till your hat floats. Made sense in Cleveland. If you walk north, you'd go right off the end of the pier, right into the lake. Take the turnpike to the airport. That's a strange one. Take the turnpike to the airport. If he was German, it should have been take the Autobahn to the airport. Kind of a strange one there. Yeah, see, like one thing with my grandmother and grandfather, on my father's side, well, I didn't really get to know my grandfather too much because after he retired, they moved to California and then he passed away. So they never. The only time my grandfather would speak Hungarian is he had a neighbor around the corner that didn't speak any English, spoke strictly Hungarian. So that was the only time I ever heard him. But around the house, they never. A mail order? Oh boy. I'll have to see if I can find the picture. Now, I was on an international dating website after the fourth divorce. I don't know why. And I got to chatting with this Russian girl. And she sent me a picture, photo. Now, here's the thing. This was early in the internet. So sending photos back and forth over the airwaves wasn't really a big thing yet. I always wondered if I would have brought her over here, if she would have looked like her picture, or if she would look like a Russian Godzilla. I mean, you can't even trust today. Unless you're video chatting, I wouldn't trust anybody off the internet. No. I hear too many horror stories. Most of them just want to come over here for the green card. I figured if I was going to do it a fifth time, I would have got me one of them like Japanese geisha girls. The ones that are basically trained not to talk back. Well, that was big money back in 1910. Christ, that was like half a year's wages. Or 3/4 of a year's wages. Or maybe a year's wages. People weren't making big money back in 1910. Matter of fact, one guy I work with at the county, he married a Japanese girl over in Japan. Now, he had gotten permission, but boy, he had a bitch of a time bringing her back here because the government didn't look too favorable on Japanese people coming into the U.S. It took him like 3 years to get her over here. I had heard the story several times. But he had gotten permission and still had to fight to get her over here. And then once he got her over here, it was a fight for her to get her citizenship. But anytime I would go over to visit, I had to leave my shoes at the door and put on sandals or flip-flops. And the table was about this high off the floor. You knelt down on pillows in order to eat. Yeah, I'll never forget it. I walked in the kitchen and I went, how come there's a kiddie table here? And he was like, don't let my wife hear that. You'll insult her. I said, where's the chairs? He said, you got to kneel on pillows. I said, all right, I'll kneel on pillows. I'm drawing the line at chopsticks. I didn't go visit too often. I like sitting at a table, not kneeling at one. Although I think she sensed, I didn't care for certain things. Like raw fish. All right, Ron, take care of what you got to take care of, buddy. Yeah, when I saw the raw fish, I said, oh, I'm sorry, I'm allergic to fish. She was like, really? I said, yeah. They were married 52 or 53 years. And then I can't remember if he had a heart attack or a stroke. Yeah, it was 52 or 53 years. But their whole house was Japanese motif. The whole house. Pillows in the living room. Pillows and pillows and pillows. And yeah, I guess he told her, do what you want. But the whole house was Japanese motif. And he was happy. Oh, he was. But to each his own, But she was extremely shy. She would never come to any of the county functions. I don't know if she was embarrassed or what. I never asked, but any of the family outings, she wouldn't attend. And he basically told, the clerk of courts and the deputy clerk, he said, hey, my wife doesn't like attending these functions. So the only way I ever got to meet her was I got invited for dinner once. I think I insulted her with the fish allergy. He never said, but I never got another invite. Because every Saturday he would have to take her down to Chinatown, the Asian market, so that she could get all their food for the week. I went over the Asian market one time because there was a lot of live things in fish tanks. I'll never forget the one place I stopped at. This woman handed over a plastic bag full of live eels. Yeah, everything was alive. All right. They held the lead and didn't let anybody score. Holy shit. Wow, do they have good defense? They must have a hell of a pitcher. Nope, the team never made it past 3, huh? Well, good for them. I bet you your granddaughter was bouncing off the wall, huh? Did she get any good hits? Did she drive in any runs? Tell me she got a homer. I think Grandma would have fallen out of the stands if she hit a home run. Nine to 3. Man, talk about killing them. Holy shit. Oops. Sorry. Wrong grandperson. I thought it was your granddaughter. Okay. Did he get any home runs? Or at least drive in a couple? Maybe get a nice double? Or a triple? Oh, okay. No homers, huh? Well, at least they won. That's the important part. Let's hope they carry that through the season. That had to be some good playing to keep that team at 3 runs. Well, it was nice to see a winning game. Grandma left the stadium with a smile. Oh, man. Playing hell getting this medication caught up again. Tomorrow and Monday. Okay. You'll have to keep us posted on the score. Well, you know, Kathy, as long as he gave 100%, that's all it takes. Long as he gave it his all. Well, Kathy, if you don't want to stick around, or Kathy, Jenny, I mean, I won't. Believe me, I wouldn't be here if I just gone through that. So if you don't want to, you don't want to hang in, we understand. Yeah, she just popped in, Linda. I don't know why you guys are having problems seeing each other. You know, Kathy, I'm sure the coach says the same thing. You know, you don't have to, get a hit every time at bat. But as long as you gave 100%, it's, it's sportsmanship. Yeah. They're learning sportsmanship. You don't have to score every time you're up at bat. But as long as, you gave it your all, that's all we could ask for. That's because the chat moves by so quick, I get confused, Jenny. It's an age thing. When you get this old, you're lucky you can remember who's in the chat. Gee, that was like, I go up for smokes today. And of course, they still haven't got the cookie thing straightened out. So, the younger brother, the one that's in charge of getting the cookies straightened out, he said, new product. I said, where? He said, down there. I'm looking. He pulls out this thing. Corn sticks. Now they look like yellow tubes. It said corn sticks. I said, these ain't cookies. Yeah. Cookies. I said, they're tubes. She said, they're cookies. I said, you try for free. Okay. So tonight, after I eat, I'll be trying the corn sticks. They don't look like cookies. They look like ho-hos that don't have the filling and the frosting. They're yellow tubes. Indian cookies are weird. I said, are they sweet? Like cookies. It's okay, for free, I'll try them. Yeah, every time they get a new item in, you try, here, free. Works for me. But I've never seen a cookie that looks like a yellow tube. Because I looked at them, I said, they forgot to put the filling in them. No filling. Okay. I figure I'll try one. And if they're not sweet enough, when I go shopping tomorrow, I'll buy some Ready Whip. That way it'll make them sweet. Although they got this, it's like Ready Whip. Another dairy makes it. And they have one regular and one extra creamy. I don't know what the taste difference is, but if I don't care for the corn sticks plain, I'll get some of the extra creamy and fill them. Yeah, he goes, they're cookies. Yellow tubes. Corn sticks. That's like, oh my God, it had to be last fall. He gave me this jar, and they looked like eggs in this jar. They were Indian sweet dumplings. Sweet wasn't the word. The first one I bit into, I almost went into sugar shock. Holy Christ. I don't know what that syrup was that those dumplings were in. Holy shit. It took me about 3 months to eat that jar. Eat one of them and I was up all night on a sugar buzz. Oh, they were good, but holy Christ, were they sweet. What I would do is I would take them out of the jar and put them in a little bowl. Two. That's all I could take. Because if I took them right out of the syrup, they were ungodly sweet. They were good. Yeah, they were, they looked like eggs. Sweet dumplings. I didn't buy any more. I figured the freebie jar was enough. Because when he handed them to me, I said, dumplings? I'm thinking like dumplings. You know, like something you would put in chicken paprikash. They were solid. They were like you bit into them and they were kind of like doughy. They were round, about the size of a golf ball. They were delicious, but ungodly sweet. Yeah, dessert dumplings. That's what they were called, dessert dumplings. Because what I did when I took them out of the jar, I sliced it in half. And it was like a dumpling. A round dumpling. But the syrup, whoa. Oh, yeah. That's like about a month and a half ago. I needed pasta. And they had, I like rotini pasta. So I brought 2 bags up to the counter. And he said, do you know how to cook these? Thinking he's pulling my leg. And I said, well, yeah, boiling water. Oh. This pasta, you cook in hot oil. Immediately, I put them back on the shelf. So their interpretation of things is way different than ours. But yeah, these dumplings, like I say, I would take them out of the jar and put them in a bowl. And then after they kind of dripped dry, I would pour the syrup back in the jar. And then I could eat them. But oh, that syrup, holy shit. Ungodly sweet. But I've been slowly trying different. I like, certain Indian food I like. Now, like tandoori chicken or vindaloo. A little too hot for me. I'll never forget the first time. Say, every now and then, another thing I like is they'll bring me some, like, they brought me some tandoori chicken, and then they brought me this stuff called vindaloo. The name should have been volcano. I couldn't feel my tongue for a week. But they'll take, like a sour cream container, you know. You try. Because I told him, I said, I enjoy trying different foods. Well, that's like the one day the wife brought some chicken curry. I said to her, "Is it hot?" She goes, "No, look." And the little one, the pixie, she's eating it. I'm figuring, okay. It was like eating a flamethrower. And the little pixie is shoveling it in. I was like, holy Christ. What, Vandaloo? I'll have to ask what. Because the tandoori chicken is red. Now that wasn't too hot. But I mean, it was as red as this. And she don't speak very good English. But she was telling me, like, when they cook, they'll start out with, we'll say, oil. And all their spices are added first. It's not like you add the chicken and then you put the spices in. And some of their dishes have like 12 different spices. Because she was showing me they have these like metal buckets. And they have little like cups in them. And it's their spice cabinet. And they start with like the hot oil and put the first spice in and make sure it's all congealed, and then put the second spice in. She said some dishes take them like 4 or 5 hours to make because you add a spice and you keep stirring and stirring and stirring, and then you add another little spice and I would love to watch. It really sounds interesting when she was explaining how they cook. Because, you know, us Americans, like you make spaghetti sauce, you put sauce in, then you start adding the spices in. Then you start with the oil and put in like paprika. And then add like turmeric. Because they sell the, I call it a spice rack, but it's a layered metal container. And there's little bowls. Because they buy spices in bulk. So when you need to cook, you bring over the spice bucket. I had a Greek buddy I went to school with. And I loved watching his mother cook. And it was fascinating. And this is like, I'm 11, 12, 13 years old. I used to love to watch her. I love to watch cooking, period. But I would love to be in the kitchen with, watching Indian cooks work. Hey, Mrs. M is here. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, I forgot to do today when I was over in the medicine aisle. I forgot to look to see if there was any Geritol or any Doan's pills or Good A's headache powder or Carter's little liver pills. I'm going to have to go, as much as I hate Walgreens. Because if anybody would have it, it's going to be a giant drugstore. I'm going to have to start wandering up and down the medicine aisle and have the pharmacist come over and say, "Can I help you?" Yeah. I need some Geritol. I need some Doan's pills and some Carter's little liver pills. And then he'll smack the shit out of me and throw me out of the store. Hey, Mrs. M, that comes first. I appreciate you popping in, but that's more important than this. Tell him I said hi. And if he doesn't know who I am, show him one of my videos. And then he'll be like, "You watch him." Sounds like it's raining. And tomorrow I was going to weed whack the backyard. With my buzzsaw whacker. They sell them down there? Well, they must, because that's Richard Petty country down there. And they sponsored Richard Petty's race car. You always saw Goody's headache powders on his race cars. Well, appreciate it. I can always use them thumbs up. Or thumbs down, either way. It looks like I'm going to be stuck at 98 subscribers again. We're only 2 away. We're only 2 away. Yeah. You make us all happy telling us he's coming home, so hope he settles in. But tell him we all said hi. Yeah, but absence makes the heart grow fonder. One of my grandmother's sayings. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. I didn't think it was supposed to rain. Let me look. Look at my... Oh, Jesus. What the hell? Google is telling me we have received 42 complaints today regarding spam texts sent out of your mobile number. Yeah, you're just trying to get me to buy something. What a crock of bullshit that is. Come on, I want the weather app, not all this bullshit. Your weather app is very old. Oh, I hate this bullshit. Always trying to get me to download something I don't want. Finally. Whoa. Supposed to be thunderstorms today and tomorrow. Oh, wonderful. Then Saturday, mostly sunny. And it's only going to be in the low 60s. Oh, whoopee. What a good way to start June out. Never a dull moment. Cleveland weather. If you don't like Cleveland weather, wait 5 minutes. It'll change. Yeah, my backyard will be 3 foot tall with weeds by the time it dries out enough for me to cut it now. Even with my buzzsaw weed whacker, which really works great. Except the batteries don't really last a long time, but I'm going to go up to my battery guy and see if he can get me a couple more. Plus I have to get another battery for my mini saw. That little mini 4-inch chainsaw, or 6-inch, 4-inch, 6-inch. Ah. That is one hell of a little machine. I'm really extremely happy I bought that thing, because I have a tree to take out. Oh, it just wants Google to download something. Oh, your weather's the same there? Wait 30 minutes and it'll change? Yeah. Although I'll tell you, this morning at 8 o'clock, it was 70 degrees. By noon, it was 64. And I need some warm temperature because I got to get the RAV4 running on my to-do list. Matter of fact, getting the RAV4 running is more important than weed whacking the backyard right now. Because I got everything I need. I just need the time to get out there and work on it. New fuel pump relay, new fuel line, new fill filter, hose clamps. Got everything I need to fix it. I just need warmer temperature to fix it. Because I miss driving it. Not to mention, it's oil change and tune-up time on the shitbox. And then if I get the Passat, I'll have to be diagnosing that thing. It's 66. It's 66 right now. It's like last night. My bedroom was like a fucking oven. And I'm bitching myself for not putting the ceiling fan up. Another to-do list. Although the way the blades mount to the motor is going to be a pain in the ass, because the light fixture is factory mounted. So I have to work around the top of the light fixture to put the screws in the goddamn fan blades just to screw it to the motor. And you can't take the light fixture off. I need a screwdriver that's kind of at an angle. But it's remote control. I don't have to pull a chain. Although I probably should have worked on it over the winter. All these to-do things right now. And then my window fan, you know, it's one of those that's got two little fans in. It no longer runs on high. I have low and medium, and it took forever to cool that bedroom down last night. New subs incoming? You mean we're going to hit 100? Oh, man. That'll make my morning. If I open it up and see 100. We'll be partying tomorrow. I watched this morning Court with Judge Stevens. There's a guy, you never want to piss him off. Well, 101? Whoa! Holy kielbasa! Oh. We're gonna celebrate tomorrow. So today, Judge Stevens starts court. The first defendant up is a woman in a full body stocking. And she's standing in front of the judge like this because her body stocking wouldn't button enough to hide her cleavage. Well, he gave her hell and then rescheduled her hearing and told her, wear something that you would wear to church. He's a very religious person, too. Well, the second guy, or the second person, is wearing shorts. He went ballistic on him and rescheduled his court appearance. The third person steps up wearing a SpongeBob t-shirt. After he gave this guy a piece of his mind, he rescheduled his court appearance. The fourth guy steps up he was barefoot wearing slides. Well, that court appearance got rescheduled. The fifth guy, he steps up and he has a big thick chain with a huge medallion. His court appearance got rescheduled. But boy, I'll tell you what, he lectured each and every, oh man, did he go off on them people. So I switched over to him, to Judge Dad, who I love, Judge Dad. He had a guy with a bond violation on a DUI case. He must have lectured that guy for 30 minutes. And you can tell when he gets pissed when he takes his glasses off and throws them on the desk. And then he leans back in his chair. And oh boy, does the lecture come out. So then, after he gets done lecturing that guy, he gets a woman who flunked her drug test, something fierce. And her excuse was she has bad kidneys. Judge Dad said, "You got the first set of kidneys I ever saw that produced methamphetamine and cocaine." Because she swore up and down, "Oh, I'm not taking drugs." He off come the glasses, lean back. But I'll tell you what, McNally is a lot like Judge Simpson. He has a compassionate side about him where he'll bend over backwards, but don't piss him off. And don't ever try to put one past Judge Simpson. He tells everybody, you know, I've been doing this for more than a minute. I've heard every excuse. They ain't gonna fly. I just found out. Now, I've been watching Judge Simpson for a couple of years. I just found out what the J stands for. In J. Cedric Simpson. I couldn't believe it. Now I know why he's J. Cedric Simpson. Do you know what the J stands for? Oh yeah, he is. He can be one of the most compassionate judges, and then he can be like Godzilla. Oh, and Judge Middleton, he's another one. Don't piss him off. Matter of fact, he had a hearing where an assistant prosecutor pissed him off. And he made the Debbie Davis wanted to do it in chambers. And Judge Middleton said, "No, we're doing it right here in open court on YouTube." And he made the guy apologize on YouTube. Do we know what the J stands for in J. Cedric Simpson? I like those Nehru shirts that he wears. The J stands for justice. Because one of the attorneys who had been an attorney for as long as Judge Simpson had been an attorney, and he said, "I remember when your name was Justice Simpson, not J. Cedric. And Judge Simpson kind of gave him the eye like, oh, you're going to pay for that. Justice Cedric Simpson. And it's interesting, he became a judge. But I love the Nehru shirts. Because I looked them up. You can, I didn't think they sold them. I remember back in the frickin' late 60s, early 70s, Nehru shirts were everybody had to have a Nehru shirt. And they actually still sell them. Well, it's obvious Judge Simpson wears them. I remember, was it Ben Casey or Dr. Kildare? Where I remember everybody at school had to have one of those doctor shirts that buttons down the side. I think it was Ben Casey. Was it Ben Casey or Dr. Kildare that made those shirts popular? Because I can remember stores sold out of them as soon as they hit the shelves. I think it was Ben Casey because he used to wear his kind of like unbuttoned a little bit. Ben Casey. Man, woman, birth, death, infinity. I still remember that. When what the hell was his name? I always called him Dr. Zorba. What the hell was his name? Ben Casey's boss. He'd get on the chalkboard. Man, woman, birth, death, infinity. I always wonder what that had to do with a doctor show, but and every patient that it was Dr. Zorba, I took a wing at it. I was thinking Zorba the Greek. Because I remember every single patient that Ben Casey had a subdural hematoma. They never had any other brain ailment. Every patient had a subdural hematoma. And if it was a female patient, there was always some hanky-panky. Because I'm trying to think, was Ben Casey and Dr. Kildare on the same night? Because I remember during the week we had the two doctor shows. We had Ben Casey and we had Dr. Kildare. Yeah, Dr. Zorba. He had the hair for it, too. I always wondered if he was a psychiatric doctor and was fooling around with the electroshock therapy. Didn't I like this? They weren't on the same night? Well, they had to be like back to back. One was on Monday, one was on Tuesday, or something like that. Because they were both in the same time slot. That's right, they weren't on the same night because they were both on at either 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock. I remember 77 Sunset Strip. And Charlie's Angels. You never saw Charlie, though. He was always on the phone. Angels, I have a job for you. They'd all be huddling around the speakerphone. It's like, I don't know if somebody gave my son a big box full of DVDs or what. And the one DVD has every season of Columbo. He said, "You want this?" No. I was never big in Columbo. Yeah, it's a whole DVD set. Every season of Columbo. That's where my Red Skelton one came from, which I haven't watched yet. Oh, I didn't know that. Really? Richie Cunningham's dad? Man, he changed over the years. Oh yeah, we owe Mrs. M a big thank you. A huge thank you. Now let's see how long they'll stay. Oh, yeah, hey. I really appreciate that. Man, that's going to be neat seeing that in the morning. I'm not even going to look tonight, even though I already know. That'll make my morning. I'll go, oh, look. Party, party, party. Oh, yes. We owe it all to Mrs. M. You turned my crappy day into a wonderful day. I didn't think I'd ever get there. I figured I'd be hanging at 98 for months. Although, like my luck, they'll really see what's here and they'll unsubscribe. I ain't watching that idiot. Dislike, dislike, dislike. Cool. Oh, man. Thank you very much. Especially since I lost Nomad. Got between Nomad and Linda. I don't know if Kathy was putting it out there, but I know Nomad was cranking. I think Linda was cranking too. Because we went from 63 into the 90s in no time. Oh, you're screwing with me. That was another one of my favorite programs, Happy Days. Although I never saw the show where Robin Williams made his appearance. I think he was on one show, and I missed it. What was the daughter's name? Erin Moran? I think it was Erin Moran. She turned into a big drug addict. Too much fame, too young. They can't handle it. Yeah, I read somewhere where she turned into a real drug addict. And Christy McNichol had a nervous breakdown. I had a crush on Christy McNichol too. When she disappeared from TV. Totally. Yeah, I know. Nomad is busier than a ant trying to cover elephant shit. Yeah, he emails me every now and then. Yeah, that was sad. Boy, she went downhill, and a lot of them young stars turned into drug addicts. Too much fame too fast, and they couldn't handle it. Not to mention, Hollywood puts a lot of pressure on these young, well, not today, but back in the day. Oh, God, yeah, man. To see Mackenzie Phillips then, and then to see her several years later, holy shit. It was obvious with her. Christ, she was as thin as a twig to begin with, let alone when she got on the drugs. Jesus. She looked like a walking skeleton. Although I'll tell you what, the the one I really missed was Karen Carpenter. When they were performing, one of the goddamn reporters called her pudgy. And then she went anorexic and died from lack of potassium in her system. Yeah, after that reporter referred to him as the pudgy little sister, oh, she got body image problems. I think they found her dead in her bedroom. Oh, I'll tell you what. She had a gorgeous voice. Absolutely gorgeous voice. That was a huge loss. But I read her life story. And it was all attributed to that one goddamn news reporter that called her the pudgy little sister. And then she ended up severely anorexic. I was shocked when that news story hit the airwaves. Talk about a brother-sister combo that were just over the top. I wonder how that reporter felt when he knew he caused her death. Oh, shit. Stevie Nicks was on everything but skates. Oh, man. Yeah. They all, they all turned to drugs. Like Robin Williams. Although, like Robin Williams said, he obtained every drug on earth for free. They were throwing it at him because his dealer made big money when everybody found out, oh, I'm the dealer to Robin Williams. But boy, when Belushi died, it sure straightened him out. He got a good scare. Not to mention going before a grand jury, too, Yeah, there's another one. Drugs, Heath Ledger. Like I say, you get famous in Hollywood, the drug dealers bring you the shit by the pound. Here. It's on me. Just tell your friends where it came from. But Robin Williams, he battled with alcohol real bad too. Because he no sooner come out of rehab, and he was doing great. And he did that movie that was filmed in Alaska. And in Alaska, there ain't nothing for entertainment. And he started drinking again. Went right off the wagon. And then he come back and ended up in rehab again. And then when he come out of rehab, he came to the Cleveland Clinic to get his heart bypass done. Because I remember when he was on David Letterman, he came out with a t-shirt that had a zipper in the front. And then I remember after Letterman had his bypass surgery, he brought the whole surgical team onto his show to introduce him. Brought every doctor. Because I'll never forget the thoracic surgeon. He said, "Man, you're a miracle with a bone saw." And then when he introduced the ICU nurses, he went, "She gave me my first sponge bath." But yeah, I remember that show. He had the whole group on. Because I remember somebody made the comment, "All them doctors," and not one beeper went off. I miss Letterman. I used to like watching Letterman. Except when he grew that stupid beard. He looked like Father Time. He's still got that stupid beard. He was in a news article recently. I like when he got caught messing around with one of his staff. But he manned up and he did an apology on air. Now I can't stand any of the late night hosts. There ain't nothing, who's doing the Tonight Show? I can't stand him. And the guy that took over for Letterman, I don't even watch late night TV anymore. Although I'm hooked on my British, A Killer in My Village. And then they have Missing Turns to Murder. And they have a forensic. Yeah, Fallon. Boy, I was watching last night. Talk about. They had like 40 cops in moon suits digging in the grass, going across a field. Man, their forensics is way ahead of ours. Well, what do you expect, Linda? Ozzy never got off the drugs. Well, Conan is like 6'7", 6'8". God, I don't know why he didn't get offered any late night TV after he got screwed. He does a web program now. I can't remember what the name of it is. Oh, Craig Ferguson, yeah. And Craig Ferguson probably had Betty White on at least once a month. He had a thing for Betty White. I used to love when they do the skits. She was great. Yeah, Craig Ferguson. I don't know, about 2 years after he retired from late night TV, he regretted it. He said he should have never done it. Oh, I watched Craig all the time. He was great. Yeah, I don't know if they never offered Conan any late night TV. I thought for sure they would offer him Letterman show, because Conan and Letterman always got along. I was really shocked when they didn't give it to him. But you don't know what the workings are behind the scenes, Yeah, but, who watches TBS? I mean, if you're going to be a late night host, you got to be on ABC, NBC, or CBS. I don't think I have ever watched TBS. Oh, the skeleton. Yeah. Jeff Peterson, the skeleton. That was cool. I would love to have his sidekick right here. Well, see, wrestling is so phony. But if you're going to be a late night host, you got to be on the 3 main networks. or Fox. Because those are the shows that, believe it or not, everybody watches. ABC, NBC, CBS, or Fox. I don't know too many people that are dedicated to, like TBS or got Hulu, Netflix. God, there's so many different networks now. You can't keep track of them. I know, like, on my Roku TV, there's like 40 different. You got Netflix and Hulu and Pandora and I just turn it on and go to YouTube. That's it. And if I go to the other TV, it's ABC, NBC, CBS, or Fox. And speaking of TV, I think it's time to make dinner and watch some TV. And turn the fan off in my bedroom because it's probably like a refrigerator in there now since the temperature's dropped. Tubi. What the hell's Tubi? We'll have to talk about Tubi tomorrow night. And with that, thanks everybody for showing up. It's been another enjoyable evening. And Mrs. M, thanks for putting the word out. And we will meet again tomorrow night. See ya. What happened to the see ya? See ya. Take two. Am I not clicking the